YouTube, Twitter, X, and Facebook up and running. Social medias. Shout out to you guys on Facebook as we are here for Wake Up 502, April 4th, 2026. We are here. We are in the throes of Final Four Saturday. Final Four Saturday. Yes, I know University of Louisville is not there, but it does not make it any less exciting. To me, it's going to be one of the most entertaining and exciting Final Fours in a very, very long time. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about and break down that, those two games, what's going to happen in those. We're also going to, of course, talk about plenty of Louisville action. We have a new coach on the sidelines that'll be coming in to help out Pat Kelsey and crew. We want to talk about that. We also want to get, discussions about how people are feeling about everything right now, how people are feeling about the basketball program. We have, I need to know how people are feeling about the football program after our very own Mike Rutherford started he started some stuff. I don't know when that Jeff Brom interview was, Monday or Tuesday, but whatever day that was, Mike Rutherford, it's all Mike's fault. He got some stuff started. So I want to know how everybody feels about that whole situation, the Josh versus Jeff thing, and plenty more. It's a lot happening. It's a lot going down. We're only a few weeks out from the NFL draft as well. May discuss that, talk about that as well. We got the main man coming in the building, so we'll go ahead and get him situated in the studio as well. But man, I am so happy to be here this morning. I am so excited. There's just so much happening in the world of Cardinal athletics and just kind of in general. In the sports world, there's just a lot happening. There's a lot of energy. Text Groove, I'm trying to check and make sure that Text Groove is up and running. I don't know what's going on. Let me make sure we can get those in. 502-414-1450. That is the Game Day Men's Health text line. Would love to hear from you there. Let's see. I believe we're up and running on that. I want to make sure that the text line is working. But before we do any of that, the first thing we're going to do is say hello to my main man, the architect himself, Haven Harrington. Haven, good morning, sir. How are you doing? You were missed last week. I know you were out running around. I feel like you're like a superhero. I just don't know about it. You're like Batman or the Green Arrow or somebody. I have no idea what you're doing when you disappear. But how are you doing this morning, brother?
Man, I am doing great. You know what? I think you forgot when I told you I was going to be in the great city of Chicago.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
College tour.
Yes, that's right. How did that go up in the Chi?
Man, it is lovely. Went to the greatness is Loyola of Chicago. Great university, great town.
Nice.
Got to stop by and get my favorite, while I was there. Had to go to 75th and King and get some Harold's chicken.
Oh, there you go. Harold's chicken, fire, always. You didn't bring me none, though. Usually when you go to Chicago, I'll get a visit from Haven Harrington. And Haven Harrington got a box for me. Haven didn't bring me nothing this time.
Actually, I do, buddy.
Did what? Oh, there we go. See, always coming through. And of course, your pops lives up there. How's Pops doing?
Man, the man has taken like a 180. He's doing 1,000 times better than he was before.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He had his dementia was kind of bad. He had stage 4 prostate cancer, but apparently they got that under control. And
good.
His dementia has kind of laxed. So yeah, he's moving and grooving.
Love it. I love to hear that. I love to hear that the people are doing better. Shout out. It's been a few years since I got to go up there with you, man. But glad you had a good visit. The Loyola Chicago. I hope that was a wonderful trip. I've never been there. That's not one of the universities that I've seen. How's the campus up there, by the way?
Man, the campus is gorgeous. So like Loyola of Chicago is right off of North Shore Drive. So it's like literally right on the lake.
Yeah.
So it's in the heart of downtown Chicago, like right on the lake.
Wow. Okay.
But rather than having like a true urban campus,
Yeah.
it has like your typical college campus feel with like green lawns and it's kind of spacious. It's not too big, but maybe the same size as Belknap campus at U of L. So it's not like the biggest campus in the world, but it's like really, really nice and spacious, kind of laid out. So it kind of gives like this college feel, even though like you're right in the heart of downtown.
Nice, very nice. Well, that sounds pretty awesome. I'm glad that you had a nice trip. I always love the trip Chicago. Like DePaul, the DePaul trip, that used to be the thing for the Louisville fans back in the day, is that we were always taking that DePaul trip. I do miss that, and getting up to Chicago, semi-annually. That used to be the thing. We got to get DePaul back on the schedule so we can make that move up there. But I'm glad you had a good time, man. And we actually do. I'm hoping, I don't want to spoil the surprise, but for all of our devoted listeners to Wake Up 502, I believe we're going to have a special guest here at the bottom of the hour, 9:30. I'm not going to tell y'all who it is. I want y'all to be surprised. So everybody who listens to the show religiously every Saturday morning, you all will get the first dibs on that. I kind of kept it quiet on the socials because, I want it to be a surprise. And I want everybody on here to get the first, the first reactions to it. So super excited to hopefully have this guest at the bottom of the hour. But Haven Harrington, there's a lot going on. The Final Four is about to get underway up there in Naptown. You had Michigan and Arizona, Illinois and UConn going on up there. And while everybody's excited about what's going on there, the feelings are a little bit different here locally. A lot of moving and shaking, a lot of declarations of guys who are transferring. Of course, the transfer portal does not open up officially until Tuesday, the 8th. It's so funny, Haven. Like, what do you think about that? Just the fact that, they say that the transfer portal does not officially open, and I'm doing the air quotes for everybody on YouTube, Twitter, and all that. They say that the transfer portal does not officially open until the 8th, the day after the national championship game. But you already have, dozens, if not more, players that have already announced their intentions to enter the transfer portal. And, there's a lot of people that already know where they're going. Like, do you feel like, because the transfer portal used to open, I believe it was around March 20th, March 14th, something like that. Do you like the fact that they are keeping the portal closed until after the national championship game?
I mean, it makes on paper it makes sense, right? Because you don't want like what happens in football, and especially what happened to the USF, where they're trying to make their playoff run. And you have guys actively trying to get their players to enter transfer portal, like in the
in the midst of the playoffs.
Yeah, like in the midst of the playoffs, right? They're trying to get people to come on in, to come on out. So on paper, this makes sense. You wait to the end of the season, so all the teams that lost up until national championship game, if those players, want to declare, I'm gonna say for the draft, right? If those players would like to declare for NIL, like to jump in the portal early, right? So other teams and coaches know, like, okay, we know we got these.
It helps to keep the focus on what's going on.
It helps to keep, at least for the championship teams, as teams get to each level.
Yeah,
they're guaranteed that. We're not guaranteed because there's going to be somebody talking to everybody anyway.
Yeah,
but at least it gives the illusion of nobody's going to tamper with your dudes until after the championship game. So
but
if you're trying to make that run,
100 dudes are going to commit on the 8th.
Yes.
Even though technically no conversations are supposed to be had until the transfer portal opens on April 8th. But, these 15 guys have already somehow magically figured out where they're going and have deals signed.
I know, no, to me, like, which is cool, right? To me, that's okay. So, like, if your team, the case in point, if Kenai Roots or Sananda Fru, those guys have been out for a while. If they want to shop themselves, let people know, hey, I'm coming on the market. This is what I want. So you get those negotiations started. So as soon as April 8th, boom, you sign it, you get your check, you start playing. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fair. That is fair. I will say that that's one of the things that I definitely liked about this situation better than what's happened in football is that, for any of the players of teams that are in the Final Four, we haven't heard about any of those guys declaring or having the intention of getting going into the portal. So it's been all about business. It's been all about the games. Even though there's been scuttlebutt that there are going to be some of those players that are, of course, going to be jumping in the draft. Kind of like the young man who was played at Kentucky this year. Went from Florida to Kentucky. So I mean, I agree with you. I think that it's good. It's just funny to me that I know all these conversations are going on in the background. So it's like, the Denzel Aberdeen. Aberdeen, of course, went from Florida to Kentucky, but it's not like Denzel Aberdeen made it known while his team was on a championship run that he was putting his name in the draft. So it kind of keeps the focus on the games. Everything that's been talked about this week that's been, not in focus is, everybody asking Tommy Lloyd and Dusty May if they're going to be the new coach of UNC, which is, that's just as distracting. It's like, while we don't have discussions about players, that's kind of the double standard thing, right? Because, everybody wants to talk about, it takes focus off the teams and they can't get ready because these players are jumping in the portal. Well, what about coaches jumping in the portal, Haven?
Well, nobody cares about coaches. I mean, seriously, there's always been a double standard. That's why it was not easy for NIL to kind of take over and things of that nature, but it was always super unfair when coaches can change teams willy-nilly, can leave, quit in the middle of the season, or, quit before National Signing Day or right after National Signing Day, and players are stuck, right?
Yeah.
And they can leave and go as freely as they wanted to, but players a lot of times were just stuck up until we had the transfer portal, up until we had it, the whole NIL era. So it's kind of good to see that evening out, if you will, and college sports becoming what they really were becoming anyway, which was just
professional, semi-pro,
pro sports light.
Semi-pro.
I'm not gonna say semi-pro because honestly, most college players make more than what any semi-pro player would ever dream about making.
Yeah, I mean
so this is more just like pro light.
So much so that some of these. What some of these people are asking, of course, Floyd Badunga, the big man for Kansas, just put his name into the portal a couple of days ago, and they're talking about his people are asking for $5 million. That's more than some guys are making in their rookie contracts in the NBA.
I'll tell you right now, there's everybody on the Louisville Kings, everybody on the Louisville Bats would give their right arm if they could sign a $1 million anything.
Right. Yeah.
Or a multi-$100,000 anything, or $100,000 anything, really.
I mean, it's insane. The asking now, this is the one thing I'll say about a lot of this is that while you guys hear these numbers getting floated out here and you hear about, asking price, like when Sananda Frew goes into the portal and you hear, his agent says, the bidding starts at $3 million.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I mean, their first offer is $3 million. Someone else's next offer is going to be $750,000.
Yeah. Now I will say, according to Mike Rutherford, I was listening to Mike and Roman discussing Sananda Frew. They said that there is a power conference team, Haven Harrington, right now that does have an offer to Sananda Frew in his camp somewhere between $2 and $2.5 million. What do you think about that?
I think that's to me that's a little much, unless that you have a big man coach that can really, really coach him up.
Yeah,
because I think if you look at Sananda play, right, the basics are there, right. So the building blocks are there for I think a really, really good to great post player. We just didn't have, I don't think, the staff that could coach him up to be that type of player.
Yeah.
But if you're the school that has a big man coach and can really coach him up, I think, he can become a great player, but it's going to take a staff that can really coach him up and be patient because it's going to take a couple of months for him, one, No, last year we saw that he had a hard time with bigger physical guys who were just as physical as he was,
Yes,
and just as tall. He had issues. He kind of shied away from, super aggressive, post players. So if you have a system and if you have coaches that can coach him how to be a low post player, yes, I think he could be everything that we thought that he was going to be for us. But you have to have that coaching staff in place first in order to coach him up. You know what I'm saying? It's like when Phil Spencer first got to Louisville. Like you saw Phil Spencer his freshman year, you were like, man, this dude's kind of suspect. I don't know. But by the time his junior, senior year rolled around, you're like, okay, now I see now I see what I saw in Phil Spencer. Now I get it.
I'll say this about Sananda Fruit. Like, there was only one game, and I sent this information to Mike on Friday, Mike and Roman, when they were talking and discussing Sananda Fruit, that, there's a lot of coaches out there, a lot of Power 5 head coaches that were critical of Pat Kelsey's handling of Sananda Fruit, and basically they feel as if Sananda Fruit was mishandled at U of L.
He was.
And that being the case, there's a lot of coaches out there that feel like they can get more out of Fruit.
And they can. And they can. Because, like, what Sananda brought to the table isn't what Pat Kelsey and his coaching staff were trying to do with this team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I totally get the coaches saying that he was mishandled. Yeah, bring him on our team. We could do better. But those are Power 4 coaches, though, that have a strong post-game presence.
Yeah.
And they know how to coach up post players. And they saw what we saw, right? They saw a guy that has the potential and all the tools, but just was in a system that exploited what he did best. And that's not a knock against Pat Kelsey. But it's just, sometimes you have players that don't fit your system.
Yeah.
And it's just a mismatch. And Sananda was one of those guys with just a mismatch.
So let me ask you, like, if Sananda Fruit goes to, let's just hypothetically say Sananda Fruit went to, NC State. Let's just pick a team. NC State, he goes to Texas Tech, he goes wherever, Ole Miss, follows the James Scott route. What if Sananda Fruit goes to one of these other Power 5 schools and has a lot of success? Do you think that shines a negative light on Pat Kelsey as a coach?
I don't think it shines a negative light on Pat Kelsey as a coach. It's just that what Pat Kelsey wanted to do this year just wasn't in what Sananda Fruit's talents were. And to me, it was just more of a systems mismatch.
Yeah.
Right? Like this was a team, and we saw it, that was built on shooting 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And not really having, this was a team that's built on shooting 3-pointers and putbacks and having, drives and kickback outs and shoot more threes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really an offense built to attack at all three levels, right? This wasn't an offense that could attack in the low post, in the mid range, or the 3-point line. This was a team built on attacking at the 3-point line and then getting putbacks and layups. And that was our offense. And, for most part, I mean, if we're being completely honest, I know there's a lot of frustration with how the season went and, the whole thing with Michael Brown Jr. I get that. I get that completely. But, we still played really well, and we can beat the bad to good teams. We just couldn't beat the physical teams because we can only attack really at 3 levels. At 2 levels, we really need to attack at 3 levels. And actually, we can only attack at 1.5 levels, to be honest with you, on offense. So, with that being the case, we actually did like a really good job. But, I think this is one of the things that, Kelsey's just going to have to learn. And we saw it. He made changes on the coaching staff. So you can see the process has begun, right? Mm-hmm. So he's learning. And, sometimes when you have a guy that hasn't coached this level, sometimes it takes a while.
It takes a little bit to get adjusted.
It takes a little bit to get adjusted for you to learn, okay, so this is what we need to do. I need big, because it's obvious. This year, it was all about you need bigs. You need a strong front court.
Yeah.
If you're going to play at the highest levels of college basketball. Now, Pat Kelsey's system would have been great before basketball changed, when it was like a guard only game, right?
Yeah.
10 years ago, when it was a guard heavy game where you needed guards to win, this system would have been awesome. But that's no longer college basketball.
I mean, and you know what? And this is the thing I'll say. So as far as the Sonata Fruit side of it, I'll say this: the most interesting thing and what I want to see. There was only one game where Sonata Fruit actually got the ball thrown to him on the block, and they let him work on the block, and that was the game against Montana. In that Montana game, I think Sonata got about 8 or 9 back to the basket post up plays. He scored 18 points, had 9 rebounds, shot 9 of 11 from the field in that game. That was the only game where he actually got the ball thrown to the block consistently.
Because that wasn't our system. That was what he was. That's not what we're trying to do.
So, like, that is interesting because I just want to put a pin in that to see exactly how good he looks, because I will respectfully disagree if Sonata Fruit goes somewhere else and looks really good. Like, if he comes in and plays, because, Sonata Fruit was expected to be an all-ACC caliber big man coming to Louisville, and he wasn't close to that. So I think if Sonata Fruit gets close to that, I think people are going to have an issue with it. I think that's going to be a...
I mean, yeah, people have an issue with it, but that's not the type of offense we ran.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not our offense did not highlight our bigs.
Yes.
And it did not put them in the best place to be productive.
Yes.
And so that's why, we were in the post.
But it's like this, it's funny just because these people say that, well, it's a revelation this year that, it's a big man's game. I would argue if you look...
It's been that way for a couple of years
It's been that way since Connecticut won their first title. If you go back and you look at the last... Basically, since COVID ended and the world got back to normal, the big man has been back because the big man is now staying in college because they're able to get compensated, and instead of having to go to Europe or... Because, they're not going to the NBA, so they're going to either the G League or they're going overseas. Big men are staying in college. So... if you look at UConn's first championship under Hurley, Adama Sadogo was a dominant big man for UConn, won the title. The next year, Klingon, the big 7'2", post player, was a huge part of that, that championship run the second year in a row. Then last year, you have Florida. Florida goes out there with what? 3 of the, you had Chinyelu, you had all those big guys they had last year when they won the championship. Like, the big man has been dominating college basketball. Yes, it still takes guards to win, but you have got to be able to compete in the paint. Like, it's been that way for the last 4 years. Like, so this is not the first year. People acting like this is the first year that big men have been
No, it's not the first year.
Absolutely not.
Not at all.
I mean, this has been the way that that things have been going since players have been able to get paid. So basically, the NIL era has motivated these big men to stay around.
But it's that and the fact they have no place to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Because NBA does not use big men.
No.
So they have no place to go.
I mean, your traditional post players. I got to see this big man in the McDonald's All-American game. Arfan Diane. I mean, Haven. I know you didn't get to it. Did you get to watch any of the McDonald's game?
I did not.
This big man going to Houston, Haven Harrington, looks just like Shaq did as a high, coming out of high school. He's about 7'1",
really,
about 295 pounds, big, strong, athletic, raw, just like Shaq was coming out of high school.
And that's not the guy that you want at Louisville.
Well, it has not been. It has not been. But you know what? They got a new coach.
Things may change.
They got a new coach coming over. John Andershek joined. He was the head coach at Campbell. Was under, he was on the national championship coaching staff at Florida last year. Coach Andershek's first year was at Campbell this year, and decided to leave Campbell because basically he said that there was no chance that they were going to ever be able to win because of a shift in the in the school's kind of direction with college athletics. So basically he was saying that, they just didn't have the NIL to compete with people even within the CAA.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, that's why he decided to leave. But Coach Andershek, with the way they did things in Florida, he was very important to, Florida's building of, like when you talk about Chinyelu and the rest of those big guys at Florida, Alex Condon and the rest of them, Thomas Houck. That whole style of having big men playing an up-tempo game, but still having big men as a huge part of it, getting up and down, playing fast. He helped bring that to Florida, and he was their defensive specialist on top of that. So to me, Haven, that says a lot. Like that, to me, when you talk about a guy who knows about big men and a guy who knows about defense and helped the Florida, achieve that at a national championship level, to me, that screams exactly what Louisville needs. Do you agree with that?
I mean, hopefully, we have to see when he gets here how he meshes with the current coaching staff. If how much they're willing to change the system.
Yeah.
But this is the move that we've been calling for: an experienced coach that's done it before at the highest level, that knows how to get it done, that can assist Pat Kelsey.
Yeah.
And this what we've been talking about since November?
Yeah. I mean, since Brian Cloman was the defensive specialist year one under Coach Kelsey, and Coach Klo moved into the kind of the player operations kind of general manager role in the second year. And you noticed
the difference in the defense.
And you can tell. Yeah. I mean, on top of, not having Chucky Hepburn probably has a lot to do with that as well. But yeah, I mean, with Coach Klo making that move, Louisville's defense definitely took a step back. And of course, Brian Cloman did end up being one of the coaches that was announced that he was leaving and heading to Auburn. He took a similar role with the Auburn Tigers. So Coach Klo moved on, as well as Coach Thomas Carr moving on to Indiana. So with Coach Andersheck coming in, it definitely, to me, signals a shift. When you talk about Coach Kelsey's style, two of the guys that have been with Coach Kelsey the longest leaving, and now you have this new coach coming in. It'll be very interesting to see the guys that commit to Louisville, Haven, starting next week, because I think that's going to tell us a lot about what direction this Louisville basketball program's going in.
It's a whole lot, because you got to replace almost the entire team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but hey, that's everybody now, right? That's everybody.
I had a couple people attack me on Twitter. It's like, what do you mean? We're concerned to replace almost 100% of the team. I was like, this is what's going to happen every year with the portal and NIL. I mean, like, you're going to have to replace literally like 75% of your team every year is going to go someplace.
Yeah, I mean that's just the way. I mean that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. I mean, if you have some legit, permanent type starters, I think those guys you'll be able to keep around as long as you pay them competitively. But other than that, it's going to be a lot of turnover year in and year out. I mean, that's just kind of that's kind of what it is. But I tell you what, Haven Harrington, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, hopefully we're going to have a special guest joining us. Make sure you all continue to listen in. This is Wake Up 502. Raashaan Myers, Haven Harrington, and we'll be back on the Big X. And welcome back. Wake up 502, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio. Raashaan Myers, Haven Harrington back here with you this morning, WXVW. Now joined on the line by a very special guest. Thanks so much for him giving us a little bit of time this morning. Vince Marrow, Executive Director of Recruiting and Football Operations. Coach Marrow, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
You guys good, man. You guys, I wish I had the energy you got. It sounds very fired up and it feels good.
Coach, let me tell you something, man. We have to bring the energy on Saturday morning. Now, people expect that somebody's got to get them going on the weekend. You know, we got to get it going. That's why we call it Wake Up 502. So glad to hear from you. So glad to talk to you, Coach. With so many things happening right now, you know, you have spring practice going on. There's been some big announcements going on the recruiting side. Of course, that's where you butter your bread, brother, is you know, the work and effort that you put into the recruiting side of it. You know, there was a lot of conversation, Coach. Let me ask you this. There was a lot of talk, you know, from down the street that Vince Marrow had lost his fastball. You know, that you know, he wasn't doing it the way he used to. But with what we're seeing and what we're, you know, witnessing as far as this 2027 recruiting class, Louisville football is on track to have one of its best classes, if not the best class that's ever been put to paper. Just talk about how it feels to kind of show that you can still do your thing on the recruiting trail.
Man, people who were around me know that was all just, I use President Trump fake news. You know, when you all you do is look at the dynamics. When I was down the street, we had top 20 classes. We were doing pretty well, and we dominated the state in recruiting for the last 6-7 years. And then we had a strong footprint in Ohio and a strong footprint in Detroit, where we got a lot of guys that's in the NFL now that's still playing. I don't get caught up in stuff like that. That's, you know, the more that I see, and even being now on the other side, being at the University of Louisville, you see how people try to spin narratives that ain't true. And soon I come here and, you know, working with Jeff, who's a really good friend, and I love our staff. The guys I work with, you know, even in the recruiting room, but just even with the staff, is that when you have a vision and you can do, you know, what you need to do, I never even came across did I lose my fastball or curveball or slider or anything like that. If my record speaks for itself, so I really don't even. That's it's kind of funny if you ask me. So you know, I go up against the best. I love going against the best. I love winning a lot of battles, and so I'm glad you brought that up. But even people in the national media knew that there was something crazy about that.
Yeah, there you go, man. Love to have you on, man. Football is by far my favorite sport. So have the great ones such as yourself on the radio, man, just does my heart good. But I have a quick question for you. What makes you such like a great recruiter?
I actually think just being honest with kids, being honest with. I'm even more honest even with, like, you know, meeting the guys yourself. Like, I don't spin narratives and say, hey, you know, there's certain schools, so I don't say their name, but I look up every day, they got this 5-star on campus, they got that 5-star on campus, they propaganda, the propaganda about us being spent down the road. We got all these guys, but nobody's closing deals. What I look at here is about being authentic, being honest, telling these recruits and their parents the truth, having a good vision when you can work with a guy, work for a guy like Jeff Brown. You know, it was easy. It's easy for me to even recruit more because, like I said, and I keep saying, he was one of the top. Some people say 5, 10, but he's one of the top 10 coaches in college football. And that message is easy to fill. So when I go out and just recruit, it's like, hey, this is what it is. This is our plan. And then people got to respect you. You got to have a foundation with people you have respect over the years. You can't be some Johnny come lately guy that's coming in here and just thinking like, oh, I'm going to talk all all that. And, you got to have some receipts, and you got to have some grounds laid over the years that people can trust you. Whether you're in Ohio, whether you're in Kentucky, whether you're in Florida, whether you're in Georgia, whether you're in the great, Mississippi, just different states. You have to have, boots on the ground that people respect you. People ain't gonna just give you their kids now just because you got a facility and you're throwing all this new hype out. People better respect and know who you are.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. No, I totally agree with you on that. And Haven, let me tell you something. When I met Coach Marrow, we were down at a local watering hole downtown, and Vince comes into the building, and it just he commands the room everywhere he goes. So I definitely understand why Coach Marrow is so good at what he does. Sat down right near me, and we got to chat and talk for a little bit, and just a very engaging personality. Coach, I'm so glad that you're now on the right side of this rivalry. I did take notice of the fact when you were at Kentucky, I'll give you credit. Your ability to identify players, because there's a lot of kids that have high ratings. There's a lot of guys that get 5-star ratings, 4-star ratings, but your hit rate for players being able to come in and positively impact a team on the field and off the field in a big time way, it's to me a big part of it, because a lot of guys have a lot of hype, but they don't necessarily back it up. It seems like your hit rate, especially when you were down there at UK, was very high for players that were very successful. What do you look for to know that it's the type of player that you would like to bring into the program? How do you identify guys that can be difference makers?
Well, you make things just a logical thing where you just say, hey, first I want to see if they respect their parents when I'm in the house, or if I'm in school, where they respect their coach or teachers. Now, that may sound old-fashioned, but it ain't. I think that's why some of the situations were in the world that people don't respect adults, don't respect their parents. So that's first and foremost. Then you look at, is he a competitor? Does he really love to compete? Is he a guy that wants to be a student of the game? When the lights are on, I think the greatest guy said it was Muhammad Ali. I won't butcher it up, but he said, when there was no witnesses, I trained the best. So before he came into the arena, by the time he got to fight George Foreman and all these other guys, the training with no witnesses was the greatest thing that he accomplished. And I really, really buy into that. It's actually in our weight room over the weight room, and then guys, they try to read through that. But no, you got to look at guys that want to compete. You got to look at guys that just really love the game. And when I say love, it's kind of like when you look at it and say, do you like the game or do you love it? And if you love something, it's kind of like what I do. I love what I do.
Yeah.
Some people have jobs and they like, man, I just got to go do this. I love what I do. I love working and going out and God giving me the ability to go out and look at kids and try to break down their talent. So when you have stuff like that, but the main thing is, do you want to be great, or are you, I use this word, a beast? Are you a competitor to the point to where it's kind of like the Michael Jordan, they say sickness of just competition. So, I got to give Coach Cal this credit right here. Coach Cal, when I was at University of Kentucky, I mean, the first time I bought this one guy, I can talk about him because he's been in the pros, was Damian Harris, and we was recruiting him.
Yes.
Damian Harris,
Yes.
ended up going to Alabama. But Damian really had a good ratio, so I brought him in to meet Coach Cal, and it was right before a basketball game. And Damian walks out, and then Coach Cal says to me, he said, Coach, you need to start recruiting NFL players. And I was like, NFL players, like guys like high school, he said, no. When I go recruit basketball players, I already know they're NBA players. And my whole philosophy, not saying guys went right through the NFL, but my whole philosophy changed of where I looked at guys and said I wanted to just cast guys that want to play in the NFL. Because at our level, if you don't want to play in the NFL, we ain't going anyway, because these are most of the guys that's going to play in the NFL. And so you look at our class right now, I mean, in Florida, we were number 5, we finished number 5, and right now in high school, we are number 4. Get some things about to pop some more. So it's just a thing where you got to find the talent, you got to know what you're looking for, and you got to have a good support team that watches film and understand the vision that Jeff had, that I have, that it's like, hey, this is what our whole staff looks at. So it's a team effort, but ultimately you got to be like, hey, this is what I want to do.
Absolutely. And once again, this is Wake Up 502. Raashaan Myers, Haven Harrington, being joined by Executive Director of Football Personnel and Recruiting, Vince Marrow. Nice enough to take a few minutes with us. Coach, you kind of mentioned it, and I do want to ask. Looks like a very special class for 2027 upcoming. I know you can't speak about specific prospective athletes until they sign on the dotted line, but a couple of huge commitments have just come through earlier this week. Can you just kind of talk about, the types of players? It seems like there's going to be a lot of impact guys coming in 2027. How do you feel about how things are going with the class right now?
So you get the fluff and fakeness of what sometimes people put out, whether it's people you compete against or people you on a national level. But I look at it like this. This class right here, it has a really, it's talented, and some of the guys we're still on are guys that I think can come in and play or once contribute as freshmen. You still got to go through all the ground and all that.
Yeah.
But when you look at you look at our class, I'm all about truth and reality, man. That's all I'm ever going to be about. And I know from Coach Brown on down, we don't get caught up in all this like fake news. Like, hey, we got this person, or this person. We go after the people we going after are really good players. We zero in on them, and we have right now we're having a very high closing rate.
Yes.
On these guys, and so I think this class can be as good as it can be. It's no different than being in the draft, and somebody's going to have a good draft class. You still got to go play. But the one thing I do love is that with these guys we have, the coaches we have on the staff are really good developers. So sometimes we're, on certain teams, you can recruit kids, and you better make sure you got a good development or a diamond in the rough. For example, I hate to use Kentucky, but two of their best all-time players were guys they wasn't really ranked. Josh Allen was a 2-star.
Yeah.
And Benny Snell was a mid to low 3-star. Benny Snell was a second all-time leading rusher in the SEC, all-time leading rusher at Kentucky. Josh Allen, we all know what he's doing and still doing. So you got to have a good understanding what you're doing. But where we at right now, we are signing high-caliber players to where, Jeff said the best he knew it was going to be this way, when he brought me on board. We're not taking backseat to nobody. We trying to get to the ultimate goal, the championship, get to the playoffs, you got to win the ACC championship. But we build this thing for the long run, but not when people say long run, not like 3-4 years from now. We build it right now to go to win right now, but to keep it consistently with good players. So that's what I love about what's going on with us. We still got a couple guys that I think in the next couple of days, we'll be jumping on board. So I'm very fired up.
Hey, that gets me excited right there, Haven. Coach Merrill's letting us know they ain't done yet. I love
close.
Haven, you got one more for Coach before we get him out of here?
Yeah. So I guess my biggest question is when Strong was here and I had a chance to talk to him, one of his big selling points for Louisville was we're in the city. And for a lot of guys he was trying to recruit in Miami, they felt comfortable coming to Louisville because it felt like where they were from. Has the difference between UK being more of your typical land grant college and Louisville being kind of urban school, has that helped at all in the recruiting process?
What's funny, and it's kind of like when you see guys flip-flop from political parties. I'm going to be honest with you, for 12 years, and I even told Jeff this when I first got here, and I think even me and my wife, we talked about it where I was very, I would say brainwashed, but kind of brainwashed about Louisville. It was like, hey, you guys, when we first got here, I used to always use the message up in Lexington is that, hey, this is a college town, still got a little town to it, but it's a college feeling. It's very small, and your kid, this, and that. the day I got in town when I got hired, and it took me about a week to just really get my foot, on the ground.
Right.
I said, man, I was so, and this is no lie. I said, I was so deceived about the city of Louisville. There's so much stuff to do here. Like, it's an international airport. You can fly right in. There's a lot of major cities within 3 to 4 to 5 hours. The people just in the surrounding, like downtown and out where I live and other areas. It's just honestly, it was like a bigger Lexington with a city. And I was like, man, I can go on and on about that. This ain't no guy that's just flip flopping. It's just the truth. Like I was just because when I come in town to recruit in town when I was in Kentucky, I would just come in town. I wouldn't even stay overnight. I just come in, do a couple home visits, visit schools, visit my buddy Chris Vaughn, and I'd be right back out of town. Never even experience everything I started doing when I got hired here. We moved, and now you ingrained in the community, and you just looking at the outskirts of everything. You're like, man, and this is true. There's so much stuff to do, and I can tell you this. It's been really easy to sell when these guys, now when I bring these guys in, when I'm bringing them from Ohio or Florida or even California or Detroit, the family really loves that. Hey, man, this is like a city. It kind of reminds me of Columbus, to be quite honest. It kind of reminds me of Columbus.
Oh, yeah.
Ohio. And I always say Columbus, Ohio is one of the best smaller cities I ever lived in. And Louisville kind of remind me of that. It's just more south. So, the difference of the two it's all about, you pick your poison, but I can be honest with this. Being at both places, Lexington is a great place. I love living there. I lived there for 12, 13 years. But I did not know Louisville had all this to offer and more. I'm still finding new stuff here. I mean, I've been here now almost a year, and I'm still I only got half of where people like, man, you need to try this coach, you need to go try this. So it's been a blessing, man. It really has.
Awesome.
Well, Coach, definitely appreciate you coming in, joining Wake Up 502 this morning. You've been very gracious with our time, with your time this morning, man. Thank you so much for joining us. We got to the closer we get to fall camp, Coach, we may have to have you back on just so you can let us know what you're seeing. Let us know if this Louisville team is ready to make this push and make this run. But definitely appreciate you, Vince Marrow, joining us this morning. Thanks so much for joining us, Coach.
All right, no. You guys have a blessed Easter tomorrow. Just remember he risen, so God bless you guys, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
There we go.
Big dog himself.
Yes, sir. Vince Marrow, thanks so much again for, him being gracious with us, giving us a call this morning. Haven been working on trying to get Coach Marrow, and I wanted to let him kind of get his feet wet. We kind of made this connection, last year before his first season at U of L. But, I wanted to kind of give him time to get his feet in there and start getting on that recruiting trail. And we're already seeing the benefits of what Coach Marrow's doing.
I mean, this man managed to bring 10 4 stars to UK.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there tells you all you need to know. You brought 10 4 stars to UK. And before he got there, the UK was like the bottom feeder of the SEC.
Yeah.
And brought him some super talent.
I mean, because that's the thing, right? Is that Coach, and that's why I said the hit rate for him. It's not necessarily just that Coach got, assisted Kentucky in bringing in some huge players. Those guys came in, you talk about Josh Allen. Those guys made huge impact.
Billy Snell was just a beast. I mean, there was a time when, UK had a string of great running backs back to back. And if nothing else, the little quarterback's going to be kind of, passing him kind of mid. But, UK always had defense and always had a running game.
Yeah. I mean, just that Kentucky was going to put out there an amazing defense. They were going to have an amazing running game. They were going to have a strong offensive line. And when you have that, when you have defense, offensive line, and a running game, Haven, even in 2026, you're going to win a lot of football games. And Vince Marrow, I don't want to say single-handedly, but he had a huge part in making UK no longer a laughingstock in football. So, we know that UK is a bottom dweller. The fact that they were able to get to mid is amazing. Like, I know that's funny to say, but when you have a program like the University of Louisville that, has won huge games, huge bowl games, BCS level bowl games, has aspirations of winning national championships. To have a guy that we know could take a football program from basically, a doormat to where he did UK, I just get excited about what I feel like he can do for this Louisville football program that has national championship aspirations.
With the coach like Jeff Brom.
Yes.
Speaking of Jeff Brom, we should talk about Jeff Brom getting paid after this break.
Yeah, hey, you know what? I definitely want to get into that, Haven Harrington. We have not talked about this at all.
And I also want to talk to you about, before it's too late, what happened yesterday in the Final Four between UConn and South Carolina. We have to talk about that. So I don't think many people saw UConn getting pasted like they did. Gino being mad, and him and Don.
Gino and Don got into it.
Into it afterwards. Yeah. I think his feelings just hurt myself because I don't think
they were undefeated and they got treated like a rag doll.
They got destroyed, and I don't think nobody saw UConn getting destroyed. Everybody thought they was going to everybody thought this was going to be the national championship game. That they would beat South Carolina in the close game, but they would win and then cruise like their 85th women's national championship.
Yeah.
No, it did not happen.
No. They got done bad. Yeah. So, we'll absolutely have to get in there. I was on the fence about asking Coach Mero about the whole the Brom versus Hurd thing, but I was like, never mind. Let me just, Mike, I don't want them to excommunicate Big X Sports Radio. So Mike Rutherford already started this mess earlier in the week, Haven. So I did not want to throw any gasoline on the fire this morning. So I let Coach go ahead and slide on that. But
let it slide.
Yeah, for sure. But no, definitely appreciate Vince Mero joining us. You are listening to Wake Up 502. Raashaan Myers, Haven Harrington. We're going to go ahead. We're going to hit this next break. When we come back on the other end, we have much, much more coming your way. This is Big X Sports Radio, and we'll be back. Welcome back in. Big X Sports Radio, hour number 2. Wake up 502. Raashaan Myers, Haven Harrington. Once again, thanks so much to Executive Director of Football Personnel and Recruiting, Vince Marrow, for joining us last segment. Vince had a lot to say. Definitely appreciated him giving us a look inside of, what goes into recruiting these elite athletes. Jayhad Brown, of course, the standout wide receiver, from Christian Academy of Louisville, was originally committed to Indiana, decided to make the move and commit to the University of Louisville over University of Kentucky, Penn State, Indiana, and plenty of other schools as well. Haven Harrington, that was a humongous commit, and Vince had his fingerprints all over that, he talked about and mentioned Chris Vaughn over there at Aspirations Gym. Chris Vaughn trains the best of the best in the city of Louisville. So having, Vince and having that connection of Chris Vaughn is something that I feel like has been sorely missing from the University of Louisville. And I think that connection right there is going to pay huge dividends down the road.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, anytime we got one of the best trainers training some of the best talent that comes through this area. Oh, man, that's just waiting to happen. Waiting to happen.
Literally. I mean, I've seen, Chris Vaughn just, he does so much over there at Aspirations. I'm like, why does it seem like all these kids from Aspirations are going other places being great, and Louisville ain't getting none of these guys, So, I'm just glad that connection is back. That's something that had been missing. But I tell you what, we're going to go right back to the Collier Law Office hotline. We got our man, the myth, the legend on the line. Jay has joined us this morning. Jay, good morning. How are you doing, sir?
How you doing, man? I'm looking for the NIL money.
Yeah, aren't we all? All right, you know what I'm saying? We need that NIL sponsorship, Jay.
Man, you already know, bro. Good morning, man. How you doing? How's your travel family?
Man, doing all right, man. We had Coach Vince Marrow on last segment. Coach was on talking a lot about Louisville football recruiting. You got us hyped up, Jay.
Yeah, I know, man. But Raashaan, I want to ask you something, man, about this. I've been talking to you last couple of days about the NIL program, but I want to tell you about how I feel it's unfair, not unfair.
Mm-hmm.
Because a kid go to school in 4 years and become millionaires in 4 different schools.
Yeah. At least
is it fair or unfair?
I mean, I mean, fair. But what's fair got to do with it, Jay? To me, the kids are taking advantage of the rules as they currently sit. Now, of course, our president is trying to put in an executive order to change that. But I mean, I think that the players have been taken advantage of for 50, 60 years. So I can't say that it's unfair. I mean, the players have had some semblance of power for about the last 3 or 4 years. So I would say it's totally fair, because they've been exploited for a long, long time.
Yes, sir. And I watched the girls last night in South Carolina, and I watched UConn, and I watched Texas, and I watched UCLA. It was going down real tough, man, with college sports, man, and it's coming to the things today, to fold those and trying to fool in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I got Arizona running the whole thing, Sean, man.
Yes, sir. So that's who you're picking. You don't think Michigan's going to be able to get it done tonight, huh?
So I got Arizona.
Okay. I like it. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I mean, I think that, in my personal opinion, I don't know about Haven, but, to me, I think that Arizona-Michigan game, whoever wins, that's winning the national championship.
Yeah, I think that is going to be a de facto national championship game.
I mean, those two teams, I know everybody, gets all excited about, the UConn and the fact that this is their chance to have their 3rd championship in 4 years, but I'm just not buying into it. I think UConn got extreme. Well, everybody knows that UConn got extremely lucky to beat Duke. Like Duke, there was no reason that Duke lost that game. So I'm not buying into UConn making it. I agree with you, Jay. I think Arizona is probably the best, but Michigan's right there, man. Jackson Lindenborg is a beast, Jay.
Yes, sir. But this college basketball is very interesting in this year, Haven and Raashaan, and hopefully that Coach Kelsey has a game plan and a new implemented a new coach a couple of days ago. Hopefully we can get some good players on Tuesday and try to make a run in the tournament.
Who do you want, Jay? Like they've been talking about, like, are you looking for Louisville to go out there and get a big man? Are you kind of on that train? Are you wanting to see them have them replace, Michael Brown and find that next point guard? Like, what's the most important thing to you as far as what Louisville needs to focus on first?
Man, I want to be around a big man, Andre the Giant.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, hey.
Well, I like the kid from Georgia, I like the kid from Oregon, I like the kid from Providence. There's just so many big men out there, man. But I just hope Coach Kelsey got some serious game plan with Raashaan Myers.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of big men out there. Did you see that Floyd Badinga put his name into the transfer portal? He said he wants $5 million, Jay.
Wow.
Are you paying $5 million for a big man?
I don't know, Raashaan. I don't know. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. If you're paying $5 million to your big man, I don't know if you can even put a whole starting five on the court. Like that's a lot.
Raashaan, let me ask you this real quick. Indiana had a kid a couple years ago. What did he do? It was kind of $8 million, $10 million, and they would beat them that kind of year. We would beat them so bad in Indiana.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The big man that came and transferred over from Arizona. I can't remember his name, but yeah. Louisville whooped that. You can't just have the big man. You got to have a team, Jay. I mean, you still got to have good guards, and I think that's what we've seen with Michigan and with Arizona. Like, they have big men and they have size, but they also have great guard play. You got to have both. You can't have one or the other. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that, I'm hoping that this new coach that's coming over from Florida, Coach Andershuck, John Andershuck, hopefully he can help Coach Kelsey to kind of see the
balance everything,
the value of balance.
To balance the force.
Yes. You got to have balance, man.
And you need middies.
Yes. You got to be able to take advantage from all three levels. But, Jay, I agree with you. I think the Louisville needs to build around the big man. I'll tell you one guy that not a lot of people have been talking about, just to kind of put it on your radar. Big man from Georgia Tech. About 6'9", 6'10", has like a 7'4" wingspan. I can't remember the young man's name. It's Diop or so something along those lines. He's an African kid, but he's very, very good. I would love to see Louisville get involved with him, and I feel like he's a little under the radar, so we might be able to get him on the cheap too, Jay.
Wow, okay.
So just keep an eye out for that big guy. But what else you got for me, Jay? What else you got on the radar this morning?
Well, Raashaan and Haven, man, I love about what you guys do for so many years, man. You guys are always giving back and showing your love to the community as well. You guys have a big event this afternoon, and you can tell people how they can join you guys live and direct from 12 to 3 at a location to support a good cause.
Did you want us to tell them, or why don't you tell them? You sent me the flyer, but I'll tell them if you want me to. But I appreciate me asking you what you got going on for you to set it back up for me. See how you try? You're always trying to do judo. But yes, we do have.
I'll say this, man. I'll say this real quick, man. It's just me and Raashaan and Haven came together about a week ago.
Yes.
We seen a significant tragedy that happened at Blankenburg with a good friend of mine, and Katie is senior living, and we want to give back and help. Mm-hmm. And show our love to this man and his what he's done so many years, and that's his baby what he does, and we just want to show our love. If you have a heart, come on out and be in those pieces like that 30 market from noon to 3. You can meet the Wake Up 502 Raashaan Myers and Haven Harrington, and shake a hand, take a picture, and just drop a dollar in the bucket and show your love for this Easter weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, out there, we're going to be supporting our buddy Brian Durbin, and had some issues come up, and just the ability to help people out. That's one of the things that Wake Up 502 that we always try to do is, when there's an opportunity for us to be able to link up and do something for our people, we're always going to take that. So absolutely, I totally agree with you, Jay. Can't wait to get out there this afternoon to Barano's downtown. Definitely want to be a part of that. It's right there on 3rd and Market, right there on the corner, y'all. So make sure you all come out. To Barano's. It used to be Barano's by the bridge. Now it's Barano's on 3rd and Market. But we're going to be out there from noon to 3. We're going to be out there supporting the Arcadia Senior Living Facility. So definitely, Jay, I appreciate you for getting that and putting that together. And go out there, you got get some pizza, get some yummy stuff. Some of those proceeds are going to go there to help out and support the issue. So definitely going to go out there and get some pizza this afternoon, Jay.
Well, happy Easter weekend, Haven and Raashaan, man, and I hope you guys have a couple of Easter and a couple of jelly beans today, and congrats on your daughter, Haven, and she's going to college, and hopefully she'll be in Illinois, or maybe not, or whatever, but bless the baby, the water baby, because she's in Pampers, and Haven, man, has a beautiful thing, so I know, so, man, God bless you, and happy Easter weekend to both of you.
Hey,
same to you, Jay.
Absolutely, Jay. Appreciate it. Hey, and Jay, the big man I'm talking about, because I know you like to look up the tape on these dudes. The big man I was talking about from Georgia Tech, his name, everybody can write this name down. Bay Ndongo, Ndongo. Okay, the big man from Georgia Tech. Check him out, y'all. He's a kid's a problem. So hopefully, if Pat Kelsey and the folks are listening, go get that big man on the cheap. I think he could be a beast playing the power forward at Louisville. So just shout that out. But Jay, appreciate you checking in. I'll see you this afternoon, okay?
All right, guys, take care.
There we go. One of the best to ever do it. Jay has checking in as well. Definitely appreciate that. And yeah, the ability to go out there and show up, to assist and do a benefit for our folks, this afternoon. That's big time. So shout out to Brian Durbin and everything that he's been dealing with, and just hoping and praying everything comes around. But we definitely want to do what we can do to help out with that. Now, Haven Harrington, we teased it during the break, and of course, 502-414-1450. That is the Game Day Men's Health text line. Would love to hear from you this morning, but and we will get to your. I see the text already flying in, but we will get to that. But Haven Harrington, I gotta know. Are you Team Edward or are you Team Jacob? No, I'm just playing. Okay, I'm not doing Twilight.
Yeah, please don't.
Are you Team Jeff Brom? Are you Team Josh Hurd? What is your take on this whole Hurd versus Brom thing? I have not said much about it. Me and Romy Bean did a breakdown 502, and I basically was like, yeah, Coach Brom is going to be our coach this year, so I'm not worried about it. But what is your take on this whole thing? And is this something that we should be worried about right now?
I'm not worried about it. Okay. So, I understand why everybody's upset, because, Brom had a decent year last year, kind of, a decent year, I would say, last year. There was rumors that Penn State and some other schools came calling, but he turned them down to stay here. And, we should pay him because he's shown that he's been loyal to the program. He has more wins in 3 years in the ACC than any other coach. He went to ACC title game. So we should definitely pay the man, give him an extension, and show that we're serious about our commitment to football. And I get that part, right?
Yeah.
But also get Josh Hurd's stance when he's just like, dude, give me a little bit. Let us, figure out how we're going to fix the financial part of the athletic department. Because a lot of people don't know, they had to take out a loan last year, right, to float the athletic department.
Yeah.
And that's some things that, doesn't get warm and fuzzies about how much money do you really have. The NIL is doing good, but that's another group that's not really the university kicking in a lot of that money, for the 502 collective, things of that nature. But, it's becoming now with this arms race with paying players and everything else, is that this is a lot of strain on your, I believe, as Louisville Athletics put it, your middle class programs, which is what we are, right? We're
Yeah.
not in the high end. We're not in the SEC. We're not in the Big Tens. We're not getting $100 million a year TV deal because of our conference affiliation. We're the next step down, the ACC. And for programs like us, and when you're trying to be good, especially when you're trying to be good in both sports,
Yeah, it makes it tough.
it makes it super tough because most schools we're good with just one sport, right?
Yeah.
Let's be like Duke. The football team gets 6-7 wins. They're good. They'll put all their money on basketball, right? Yeah. If North Carolina, honestly, it's the same way. Yeah, they pay for Bill Belichick, but 8-9 wins, 7-8 wins. North Carolina's okay. They're putting all the money in basketball, right? We're one of the few schools in the ACC that's putting money on both.
Yeah.
Equally trying to have a top, 10 basketball team as well as a playoff caliber football team. And that's a lot of strain on the athletic department that one doesn't have the boosters that some of the other Miami would have, or Florida State would have, or Clemson would have. And that's just a lot of strain on a program. So I understand I may want to pay Brom, but I may not be able to do it. But even though I've all the rumors out there, they've agreed to $8 million to pay him, make him at least a top tier paid ACC coach. So they kind of agreed to that point. But apparently everything else, like the sticking points around that, is what's making this whole thing tenuous. So we'll see. But I understand. I get it.
I agree with everything you just said, Haven Harrington, and both things can be true. Jeff Brom deserves to be recognized for his value, and he needs to be recognized for the fact that schools like Penn State and Michigan and others, have in Florida have been calling and making inquiries, and may or may not have had offers out there. I know that's kind of one of the sticking points. Is some people are saying he did have an offer. Other people saying he did not have an offer. But, regardless, Jeff Brom.
From my understanding, it was a verbal offer, but wasn't anything written in stone. So is it really an offer? Somebody tells you, yeah, I'm more happy to pay you X, Y, and Z. But when it's not on paper, then is it real?
Yeah.
That part I get.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, Jeff Brom has value. He has cachet, and he has a lot of value on the national market. Okay. But also, Jeff Brom has lost multiple head-scratching games that
he's lost to the worst team in the ACC each year he's been here.
Yeah. I mean, he's lost games that have cost the program from getting where they should have. Now, had he not lost to Pittsburgh in year one, had he not lost to Stanford in year two, had he not lost 3 games at home, very winnable games to California and Stanford and so on, he wouldn't be in the situation. He would have gotten that raise. So I think both things can be true, but I think at the end of the day, Haven, in my personal opinion, Josh Hurd has to kind of bend the knee a little bit, because you're not going to find a better coach than Jeff Brom. And I think you need to show appreciation for the fact that he is willing to stay at Louisville at a discount. In my personal opinion.
I take things a little differently, right?
Okay.
I understand Jeff Brom being a hometown hero, right? And Jeff Brom is a good coach. I mean, he was the coach I wanted to replace Bobby after Bobby left the first time.
Yes.
So I'm all in on Jeff. But with Josh, I'm like, one, nobody's here. I'm not saying nobody's here forever. But, my philosophy always been, I never minded Louisville being a stepping stone school.
Yes.
If you want to leave here and go to do some better things at Penn State or whatever, deuces. We'll find a good coach.
Yeah.
There's tons of good football coaches out there that are hungry, that would love to sit in the seat. So I'm never going to just be like, oh my God, we just can't lose Jeff because we're never going to get anybody better. You're never going to get anybody that loves this program better.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about if you're going to be here 3-4 years, can you win? Can you win in those 3-4 years? And that's it. That's all I got. Cool. I'm good with that. Deuces. But that's to me. But that's the cold hard business part of college athletics to me.
Absolutely.
No,
absolutely.
I get it. You want Jeff to stay, but at the end of the day, if he decides to walk,
I mean, the way I look at it is like this, Haven.
I don't think Jeff really wants to go anywhere, and I think this is just kind of playing on the edges. And some of me think this is kind of Josh Hurd just kind of seeing what he can get away with.
So I was going to ask you,
and two, trying to buy time so he can figure out something else that I think to scrape us more money. Because he may agree to the $8 million, no problem.
Yeah.
Without realizing that I may have to spend more money on basketball than I anticipated.
Well, I think, and the understanding is this, from listening to the people around the discussions, is that the per year compensation they're fine with. The sticking point has been around the buyout, because Louisville wants a higher buyout. Jeff Brown wants a lower buyout. Reason being is that, Jeff Brown wants a lower buyout because he feels like it keeps the feet to the fire of the administration to make sure that all the things that they've been promised, Louisville actually sticks to them. Where Louisville says, well, we want a higher buyout because we want security to know that you're not going anywhere. Now, they say that the sticking point in this buyout is a difference between $4 million and $6 million. Like, to me, first of all, Haven Harrington,
that's not a real difference.
That's not a huge difference. And any school that's going to want Jeff Brown will pay that $4 to $6 million without blinking.
I mean, honestly, like in any Big Ten school,
yeah,
would not even,
or SEC school,
I mean, how much money?
Or Notre Dame.
No, so look at it this way: like, how much money has LSU spent just on coaches?
Yeah.
Literally, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars. And Louisiana's a poor state.
Yeah.
Let's not get it twisted. Like, Louisiana's a poor state. But yet, for their football and basketball programs with buyouts, they're literally going to spend like hundreds of millions of dollars buying out coaches and then paying coaches.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, Ed Ordron had like a $15, $20 million buyout, and then you get
what was who was the Texas A&M coach? What was his name? The old Florida State coach.
I almost said Stoops. I don't know what I was thinking.
I can't.
My mind just went blank.
I know. But Fisher?
Yeah, Jeff Fisher. Not Jeff Fisher, but what's Fisher?
Like he had like what 35, 40. Jimbo Fisher had like a $40 million buyout.
And it's crazy.
And Texas A&M was like, yeah, sure,
we got you.
Yeah,
like $4 to $6 million is nothing.
Yeah, like if that's the case, like if you're arguing over, like that's what I'm saying.
But like I said, the only thing I could think of, the reason that this hasn't been done already, and Josh hasn't pulled the trigger, is literally I wonder if Louisville Athletics is in a little bit more dire straits than what he's letting on. And it's kind of like, well, we kind of need to hedge things for a little bit just to see how things are going to break. Because anytime an athletic program takes out, like there was an $80 million loan or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
That's a big loan to take out to float your athletic department.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look.
And I'm sure, like all other mid-tier, I'm going to say, because we're a mid-tier university. So like all the mid-tier universities or middle-class universities like ourselves, Josh may be having to think, well, you know what? I can pay Jeff. I can, I might have to probably up Kelsey in the next couple of years anyway. I might have to get more, NIL money for these guys to keep in basketball, keep doing what they're doing. So what Olympic sport can I cut to make away my budget for this? And but this is what we all saw coming, right? With the college sports arms race. These are things we all saw coming. That eventually and some schools have already done it. Some schools have literally cut like almost all their Olympic sports programs and just kept just the bare minimum needed for Title IX.
Yeah, I mean, look, and that's the whole thing, right? Is that everybody's having to tighten the budget and tighten the belt. We see universities, getting rid of athletic programs like you talked about. John Andershek, the reason that he left Campbell is because literally the administration's like, we can't even have the NIL to compete in the CAA. And we just need to kind of go in a different direction. I mean, this is the truth of college athletics where it is in this NIL era.
It is what it is. But, I think something that people, I know I've read lot of comments, and people have approached me in the streets like, "Oh, why does the Giants get it done?" And we need to pay more ticket prices. Well, whatever. Rah, 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 rah. Tom George would have got it done. He would have found the money, and why can't just be like Tom George and find the money? No, I just have to tell people that Tom existed in a completely different era.
Yeah.
In Louisville. Because I remember when Tom was here and Louisville was like really rolling, Louisville had several major corporations that were still headquartered here where you could go get money from.
Yeah.
It's for sponsorship, right? So like Yum was here. Papa John's was here in heavy.
Yeah.
You had, several companies that were here that you can go to. And when, he first got started, HCA, the insurance company, was still here.
Yeah.
Like they still had headquarters in downtown Louisville. Now you fast forward to now, Yum Brands is here, but none of the executives are here. Like they're slowly going to Dallas.
Yeah.
Right? Papa John's is pretty much in Atlanta. Like all the executives in Atlanta, all the head staffs in Atlanta, they just have a small operation here, and they're even trimming that operation down. So Papa John's is on its way out, right? HCA moved the entire headquarters to Nashville. So they're gone. Philip Morris is in Winston-Salem. They're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And now Brown-Forman is looking to merge with I forgot the name of the French company. So if they go, that's like another big company going that donates tons of money to university.
Yeah, the city of Louisville definitely has not done the university any favors at all.
Yeah, and the state, by not investing in our university system, because one thing about going on all these college tours, which my daughter has shown me, and you yourself, when your son was a senior, and you guys went to Ohio State and Michigan, all these other places,
yes,
right?
Sir.
You see really how much the state does not invest in higher education when you leave and travel to these other schools.
Yeah. No, it's
and
fair.
It is apparent how much we do not invest in higher education. And now you're kind of seeing the fruits of that disinvestment, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of seeing the fruits of these large corporations now have moved out of Louisville. That's a lot of sponsorship dollars that's gone with them. So you don't have access to the amount of money that you used to have before. And this is all happening when the game has changed to where it's now, you have to pay players millions of dollars for starters and rosters. And you're like I said, you're a professional light now. And, you don't have that same corporate base that you did before. So it's, Josh is in a tough spot, but $2 million is not a tough spot. I mean, he's in a tough spot financially with the whole, financials of the Louisville Athletic Association. And I get that part, the whole athletic department. But dude, you can't let $2 million get to this. Because what this also does is other coaches are looking, they're gonna be like we try to go get another big name coach if Jeff does leave, they're gonna be like, man, you squabbled over a $2 million buyout.
Right. Yeah.
Nah, bro, which means you probably have to go to get the up and coming coach, the next guy who's at next big WKU coach, whatever. They have another football phenom come through. You have to grab one of those guys rather than going to grabbing a new hot guy from an NC State or another Power 4 team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No. But I tell you what, Haven Harrington, excellent conversation there. You don't get that anywhere else but here on Wake Up 502. Just a kind of a global conversation about what we're seeing in college athletics. I mean, everything is changing, and these things have to be taken a look at, especially from the Louisville side of things and the business aspect that a lot of people don't really think about. But a lot of things are changing, and the city of Louisville definitely is not doing the University
of Louisville any favors. If I was an owner of a pro football team at one point, I probably wouldn't thought about half this stuff either.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Absolutely. Because, I mean, sponsorships and those types of, the corporate backing is a huge deal. I mean, that's one of the feathers in the cap for a place like University of Louisville. So when you don't have that, it's a lot of things that people don't necessarily think about. So definitely appreciate you hitting on that. But I tell you what, we're going to go ahead, get to our last break of the day. This is Wake Up 502. Raashaan Myers, Haven Harrington. We'll be back with one more segment. We'll start talking about the Final Four. We'll be back. And welcome back in. Welcome back in. Last segment of the show. Wake Up 502. Raashaan Myers, Haven Harrington, coming to you live from the palatial studios of 96.1, 1450 Big X Sports Radio, Haven. We have neglected the text line this morning, Haven Harrington. It's all your fault. You know what I'm saying? You said, Raashaan, don't worry about the texters. We don't care about them. No, he didn't really say that, y'all. But we do want to go ahead and get to these texts before we break down these Final Four games. Do have a few comments in this morning. Texter says, Pat just brought in the greatest big man defensive coach in all of college basketball, according to local media. So keeping Fru Abdul-Jabbar should not be an issue. Well, I'm going to say this. I think that Sananda Fru could be successful in, if they wanted to start doing some of the things that Florida's doing. I think that Fru, to me, this is the biggest thing with me, Haven Harrington. It's like Fru did not strike me necessarily as a guy that could not play in the low post and could not play, in more of a post-centered game. I just feel like Fru was a dude that did what he was told. And he only did what he told.
He just wasn't in the system that was ever going to use his ability or train him or train him up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or coach him up. And it's not a fault against Kelsey. It's just that the system Kelsey
It's not what they asked Fru to do. Yeah. So I think that Kelsey's system made Fru look worse than he actually was. Yeah. And with that, Fru still averaged 9 points and 7 rebounds. So that's not terrible. But I think that Fru could have been a lot better, and I think that that's one of the things that I do think that Fru's going to play. If he gets into the right system, I think that Fru can do really well. So, is he worth $3 million? I still say no on that, but, I think that Fru will play a lot better if he gets into the proper system. Texter also says, 502-414-1450, says, I'm tired of the local media making no excuses for Pat. He bragged about the team, put it together, so every failure is his fault. No, I look.
Totally agree. Every failure is his fault. And I've been really critical of Pat Kelsey and not wanting to change his system when it became obvious that, you're going to need more of a post presence than what you have.
Haven, we talked about it before last year when I thought Kelsey had the roster he needed to be successful. But when we had a conversation, everybody said, he's bringing in McNeely, Conwell, and Michael Brown. He's got to start all three of those dudes. And from the beginning, I was like, no, you can't start all three of those dudes. You got to start Javon Hadley. You got to start Kason Pryor at the 4 and Fru at the 5. Louisville went into the year with a roster that could have been a lot more competitive if they were lined up properly. I was just completely shocked that, Coach Kelsey decided to keep Javon Hadley at the 4. And I don't know if this was just, I don't know if this was the analytics talking. I don't know what the whole deal was with Hadley at the 4. I hated to see Hadley go out the way he did against Michigan State, having such a bad game. But you know what? Hadley performed in that game the way Hadley had performed all year long when he had to play as an undersized, 6'5" post player against teams that had legitimate size like Michigan State. So while I hate the fact that Hadley went out like that, am I surprised? No, not at all. Because this is what's been. So I don't think that Coach Kelsey did, Javon Hadley, or the team many favors with how he decided to employ and deploy his offensive game plan. So, we'll just have to see if Coach Kelsey has learned something. I think that we will learn a lot based on the guys that he goes out and recruits on there. Like I said, you get a guy like Bay Ndongo, the young man from Georgia Tech, who's a true, 6'9", 6'10", with 7'4" wingspan, and get that guy at the power forward. That looks a lot different than a Javon Hadley with an average wingspan who has to kind of, go with scoop shots and underhand flips to be able to get his shot off against bigger players. That makes all the difference in the world, man. So I just think that trying to see what impact that Coach Andershek, and that's one of the reasons why, Haven, I love it, and you'll have to tell me what you think, but the fact that Coach Kelsey was able to get John Andershek in the door before the portal opens so that he can kind of put his fingerprints on this new roster coming in, I think that's huge.
That is beyond huge. I just wish we had him last year because I think like Roos and Frew really could have used like a real big man coach.
Yeah.
And I think we probably would have seen like a lot of improvement, especially with Roos. I think he could have been like a phenomenal player.
Yeah, no,
given a different system.
I agree with you. No, I totally agree with you. I think that the biggest issue for Louisville was not having the right players in the games, as far as lineup was concerned. And I felt like the other thing was getting players the ball in a position where they're able to succeed. Like, to me, you should never give the ball to Kanai Roos at the 3-point line and expect he's going to break a dude down off the dribble and score. Like, to me, Kanai Roos is a guy who needs to receive the ball in the mid post, be able to make a quick move and use his length and quickness to get to the rim. Like, that, to me, is how you set that up. That's not how Louisville played. I feel the same thing about Sananda Frew. Like, when Frew showed the ability to catch the ball, 3 or 4 inches from the feet from the basket, he was able to do a little something, at least get fouled or get some, make some decent little finishes. To me, I think that Louisville only knew how to get guards the ball where they could do something with it. They just really struggled to getting anybody else the ball where they needed to be. So that's where you think and you hope that Coach Andersheck can really kind of make his hay, is kind of helping to balance out this attack. Because I do think that Coach Kelsey did a great job of making the best out of a bad situation, though I do feel like in this second year, Haven, Coach Kelsey was very stubborn.
I mean, as
far as changing what he needed to do.
Like, to me, a lot of this, making the best of a bad situation is mostly of his own making.
Yes.
Because on paper, like you had a team that was much, much better than what you had a team on paper that was much better than the team that came out on the court. And I still think that this was I'm gonna say like a squandered year almost. I think they could have been a much better team if the roster was used correctly.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. This definitely could have been. Louisville had the roster to be successful if they were employed correctly. Like, the whole case and prior mystery to me, Haven.
It's like,
I don't understand.
It's like, why pay him all this money and not play him?
But the thing was, the one game where he actually had to play because Javon Hadley was out with injury, he comes in and plays like 20, 27, 28 minutes, and dude looked good. He had like 12 points, 7, 8 rebounds. I was like, okay, look, Kaysen's showing he can do a little something. Maybe we'll have him the rest of the year. Didn't play any minutes the rest of the season after that.
No, and almost didn't even play in the last game.
No. Like, it's just weird, man. Like, the whole case and prior thing was just weird. Like, I don't know what else to call it. It was very odd. I mean, that's why when I see Cloman and Carr leaving the program, I wonder how much impact and how much their thoughts on how this Louisville team needed to run impacted some of Kelsey's decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's going to be how this team gets recruited and how this team plays this fall. We will see exactly how much impact those guys had, and hopefully Coach Kelsey has learned, because to me it feels like it's so funny, the similarities between Coach Kelsey and Coach Mack in terms of how they've handled, year one. Coach Mack and Coach Kelsey both have kind of unforeseen success. Neither one of those two coaches was really expected to make a tournament their first year. They go out there, they have really great first years. Coach Mack was, I think, second in Coach of the Year voting. Coach Kelsey won Coach of the Year his first year. Then the second year, you have a team that could have been great, but of course, COVID killed Coach Mack, and for Coach Kelsey, they make that they have a decent run, but you still lose before the team, the fans are happy. And now a coach after his second season feels the need to start firing people and, moving on to kind of have, a better group out there. And of course, we know what happened with Coach Mack with the whole Dino Gaudio thing. And now Coach Kelsey's doing the same thing, kind of getting rid of some of his most trusted coaches to make a change. Hopefully, Haven, it goes better than the post Dino Gaudio era for Coach Mack. So, I mean,
hopefully,
I think Coach Kelsey's doing the right thing. I think he needed a voice from outside the basketball program, and I think ultimately he'll get it done. But Haven Harrington, let's go ahead. Let's turn the page. Let's talk about we got the Final Four upcoming. We have a couple of power programs playing in one final. We're going to go to the other final first. Let me just ask you, the early game, the early match, you got UConn, Illinois. Illinois comes off of, kind of a bracket that got upset coming out of, what was that, the South, where Florida gets upset in the second round. Vanderbilt goes down early. And then, of course, Illinois gets the upset of Houston and then knocks off Iowa before heading to the Final Four. UConn, we know the story with them. UConn knocks off Michigan State. They get the luckiest break in the world because Duke loses their mind and Caden Boozer throws the ball away in the final seconds and UConn hits the buzzer beater to knock off Duke. So you have these two teams. These two programs are definitely the undercard in this matchup, with Solo Ball and Crew.
Honestly, we had to put that whole UConn beating Duke thing into perspective.
Yeah.
Duke had a 19-point lead with a halftime.
It was 15 points at halftime, but the lead got as big as 19 points overall in the second half.
Weren't they the first one seed in the history of the NCAA tournament to lose?
One seed
by 15 at halftime.
One seeds were 134-0 coming into that game when they had at least a 15-point lead at halftime.
Man, that's almost a fireable offense.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally is almost a fireable offense.
Yeah. John Shire, the Nepo baby, man. I still contend that I don't think Shire is that great of a coach. I still contend that. And people will say, how can you say that? He's been to a Final Four. He's had all this success. It's like, dude, have you seen the rosters that this guy has gotten gifted over his first 3 years at Duke? Have you seen the rosters that he got? He had the best Haven Harrington. John Shire last year had the two guys that are going to finish 1 and 2 in the Rookie of the Year voting in the NBA this year. Con Knippel and Cooper Flagg are going to be 1 and 2 in Rookie of the Year voting. So John Shire had those two guys.
And Cooper Flagg just dropped 50 last
as
time.
well as a guy in Kaman Malawak who starts for the Phoenix Suns, as well as two other guys in Sion James and Proctor, who are guys that are getting minutes at their respective NBA teams. He had 5 NBA players as well as the 2 top Rookie of the Year candidates on his team. Haven Harrington. They didn't make the championship game. I'm sorry. John Shire is not some great coach. To me, he's just a caretaker. He's a babysitter. He's just babysitting great rosters and has no idea what to do when the chips are down. That's just my opinion. People can say I'm hating if they want to, but I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel about it. Do you think that he's a great coach, at all?
I think he's a good coach.
Do you?
I don't think he's a great coach. I think he's a good coach. I mean, even
how good of a coach he had? Steve Fisher got Michigan to the Final Four. To the championship game and the Final Four, and Steve Fisher sucked as a coach at Michigan.
I'm just saying, even even with all that talent, you still got to be a pretty good coach to even get them to that point. I mean, honestly, this was a championship caliber roster. They should have been in. I thought this was a kind of Final Four bust for Duke with the roster, but you got them this far. You choked against UConn, and this to me, like I said, I think Shire's a good coach, but he's not a good coach when momentum starts to change and you need to start making changes.
Deer in the headlights.
Yes. As long as he can be in control, he's good. But as soon as he gets too tight, his sphincter gets tight, and yeah, he does kind of forget how to coach.
I mean, all I'm saying, Haven Harrington, is like when I look at these John Shire rosters over his 4 years, Cal Filipowski, Derek Whitehead, Mark Mitchell, Tyrese Proctor, Jeremy Roach, year one. All those dudes are McDonald's All-Americans year one.
Duke is always going to have like a stacked roster.
That's
what they do.
But that's my point. So like is he really that good, or is he just the product of you're going to have one of the best,
I mean, like
3 or 4 rosters in college basketball?
I mean, like North Carolina had a pretty good roster, and you saw what happened to them.
Did they have a really good roster? I feel like they had a couple of pieces.
I mean, but in college basketball, it takes like 2 or 3 dudes.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like Duke has had 5 McDonald's All-Americans basically in the starting lineup every year he's been there. Like, I could coach that roster, Haven Harrington. Do you think that me and you could get that Duke roster? If we had Cooper Flagg, Con Kneppel, I feel like we could get them to a Sweet 16. Like me and you.
Yeah, probably.
That's all I'm saying. I've never been a fan of Shire. I think that Shire has just been the product of having unbelievable rosters. I mean, in my personal opinion. But, regardless, you have UConn on one side. You have Danny Hurley. Okay. UConn making this upset run to the Final Four. You have Illinois, who's basically a European AAU team. Like, they just have every 6'9" Eastern Bloc Euro player out there, and then throw in a couple of 7-footers that can shoot threes and throw behind the back passes. And you basically have a European all-star team. What do you think about this game? Let's see, the line on the game right now is Illinois -1.5. So Illinois is a favorite, even though they are the 3 seed facing the 2 seed UConn. Who gets that win there?
Honestly, Illinois is a better 3-point shooting team. UConn has the better coach. Nobody really cares because both these teams only get blown out by over who makes it to the championship game anyway. So I'm gonna roll the dice, flip a coin, because I think this is a kind of a coin toss game. I'm gonna go to Final Illini because that's my mom's school.
There you go. Oh, look at you. What a good son. What a dutiful son there. That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna tell you this. I love this Illinois team. I've loved them for a while. I like their makeup. Like, this is the team that Coach Kelsey thought he was going to have. Or this is the team that he wanted, a team that had a ton of size, a team that had a ton of shooting. And, well, no, he didn't want a ton of size. This is a team that has a ton of shooting. They have the ability to spread it. But the difference between Illinois and the difference between Louisville is that Illinois spreads it with size. So even though they want to shoot a lot of threes and they want to spread it out, they still have the size to compete down low. And that's where the difference comes from. When you have Andre Stojakovic, who's a 6'7", 6'8" guard, you have Keaton Vogler, a freshman who's a 6'6" guard. Then you have the Ivisic brothers, 7'1" and 7'2" down low. You have shooting, you have skill, but you also have a lot of size. Ben Humrickhouse, same thing, 6'9" shooter. Like, this is, if you want to play the way Coach Kelsey wants to play in 2025, 2026,
this is how you do it.
This is how you do it. You still have to have the size to be able to compete on the inside.
But most importantly, use your size. And Illinois knows how to use. They are willing to use their size.
Yes.
And may I also say,
yes,
they don't mind shooting middies.
No, they get their shots where they need to. They're able to use all 3 levels, and it makes a huge difference. I love this Illinois team. I think Illinois is going to win this game, and I do think that Illinois can put a scare into whoever makes the national championship game. But I know we're up against it. Arizona, Michigan, the big matchup.
The brawl for it all.
The brawl for the all, the Thriller Manila. What are you thinking here? Arizona, Koa Pete, Braden Burries. We know about the star power. We know about the youth movement. Will the young guys get it done, or will the old men of Michigan find a way to get it done and get to the championship game?
You know what? I picked Arizona to win the national championship. I'm sticking with them.
I like it. I agree with you. I think that the difference in this game, I like Arizona's guards more than I like Michigan's guards. Everything else pretty much is a wash. I do think Axel Lindeborg is playing at an unbelievable level. Like, dude looked like Carmelo Anthony in their last game. Like, he was just balling. He just is not missing. He's shooting. Haven Harris, for the NCAA tournament, Axel Lindeborg is shooting like 70% from 3.
That's crazy.
It's insane the way this dude is shooting right now. He is definitely the type of guy who can just carry a team to a championship. So I would not be surprised. But because I hate Dusty May and the fact that he shunned Louisville to head to Michigan, screw Dusty May. I'm going with Arizona. I think Arizona, Illinois play for the championship on Monday, and I think it's going to be a great championship game with Arizona taking care of business. But I do think that the Wildcats get it done, Haven Harrington. What do you think about the championship game if it's Illinois and Arizona?
I think it'll be a great game. I think it'll be a great game. I think, like you said, I think Illinois could scare Arizona, but at the end of the day, I think Arizona is just too much.
There we go. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for everybody listening this morning. Next week, y'all, we'll have a whole lot to talk about. We'll be able to talk about the aftermath of the championship game, and we'll have probably several commitments to get into. So this is Raashaan Myers for Haven Harrington. This is Wake Up 502, and we're out.
And you find out if you do that.